What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Hero Podcast. I am joined by my two co-hosts, Alex Masono, Blue Dragon Ryu, but we just call him Brent around here. You know,
Or short
as
pitch.
everybody does. Oh yeah, or short bitch, because that's what Alex likes to call him. And then I'm Mike, of course. And today's episode, I want to focus on spooky games, like horror games. What got us into horror games, and what was our first horror game experience, type of stuff and things like that. Also, real quick, before we dive into it, just a reminder, there is the Patreon if you want to go above and beyond, support that way. Link in the description on the YouTube. Usually I put this podcast up on the Patreon early, like the first week of the month, and then a few weeks later put on YouTube for you guys to enjoy there. But yeah, if you want to get early access to the podcast, early access to it, become Patreon today at tier 2 or above. And some cool perks there, so check them out. But yeah, guys, so good to see you both. Thank you both for joining. And I think Brent, I want to start with you, man. As far as like, what was your first horror game or first horror game experience, and like, what got you into the genre?
Resident Evil.
Resident Evil 1?
Like, it's either Resident
Yep.
Evil or Silent Hill. That's like the very first game anyone fucking has ever played horror wise. Very few would go back to, I think, Sweet Home is what technically started everything.
Wait, Sweet
ahead.
Home?
Yep, if I remember correctly.
I thought it was like a more recent horror game.
No,
Sweet-
like I'm guessing since it wasn't really like horror games back on the Nintendo. Well,
There really wasn't. Like, Capcom is like the one that came out of nowhere of Resident Evil.
say, was there any? Oh, Clock Tower was on Super Nintendo, but I never played that. That was kind of like a horror game. But that
Was okay, and then like the only other, I guess, sort of quote unquote horror game, but it was made by Capcom. I guess what Dino Crisis maybe was sort of horror. I don't know.
Dino Crisis was literally just Resident Evil, but with dinosaurs.
Right.
That's all it was.
I don't really remember anything back in the day, at least, that was horror besides Resident Evil. And then Silent Hill came later on.
Yeah, I don't think anything back on the like Nintendo, Sega, Super Nintendo, Nintendo. I don't think anything was like horror. It was just pretty much
Yeah.
try to get everything out there for like kids then.
Yeah, like a lot of games back then, it was like platformers, fighting games, beat 'em ups, RPGs, action adventure stuff, like a lot of side scroller things like that. So it wasn't really horror, and that never been tapped into before until Capcom was like, you know what, we're gonna tap into this genre,
Yeah.
and it ended up working out for him. So I guess we all can agree that Resident Evil was our well, Resident Evil 2 was for me. What about Brent? What was your first Resident Evil game?
I remember this is going back to 12-year-old or 11-year-old Rio here. Me and my stepbrother opened up we opened up a PlayStation and we had Resident Evil in it.
Mm-hmm.
And we stayed up past midnight playing Resident Evil. And I told Alex this. Like it was one point in the game we had ran out of bullets, went into a room, and for some reason I didn't know zombies can open doors. Yeah, so when that happened, I'm just like, yeah. So I didn't play it all the way through till like years later when I actually had like access to be able to play like Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, and all that stuff.
The OG version, not the remake, right?
Yeah, I haven't played the one on the DS. The DS was actually pretty damn good.
Wait, there's a Resident Evil 1 on DS?
Yeah, well, it was called, if I remember correctly, Deadly Silence. It was a remake of the first game put onto the Nintendo DS, and it also added different outfits for the characters that were never seen before. Like, Chris had a ninja outfit
Oh, wow.
in that, if I
Also,
remember correctly.
within the game, they actually had like when you open doors, sometimes zombies rush through the door. You have to touch the screen to be able to shoot them and everything too. So
Wow. What did y'all think? I guess, well, because I was Resident Evil 2, you're Resident Evil 1. Alex, was yours Resident Evil 1 or a different one?
My first witness of horror games was watching my father play Resident Evil 1. Me playing first was Resident Evil 2 actually by myself at the age of 6.
Okay, so Resident Evil 2 for me and Alex as far as actually playing, and Resident Evil 1 for Brent. All right. And then I want to ask, like, what do you guys think? Probably, if you can't remember back in the day, your first initial impressions like that opening, a live action scene with Resident Evil 1. Like that was
Bro.
like so. Like I look back on it, it was so kind of corny, but good at the same time. I don't know.
I don't know my favorite thing about it, but goddamn, it always stuck in me and my best friend head.
Mm-hmm.
So Alex, I had told him before when the helicopter was taking off,
Yeah.
and the one dude was like, "No, don't go." So he was just holding his hand up,
Mm-hmm.
and he just slowly started pulling the hand down and everything. I was just like, "Bro, that helicopter's not coming back."
It's not, no.
Brad went peace and just dipped.
Yeah.
Brad fucking dipped away.
True.
Like,
Uh,
I know what they was trying to do. They was trying to put like live action stuff in it.
yeah,
But
and back then you didn't really have, the technology what we got today with CG and all that.
but
Oscar with that
it was
slick back fucking blonde hair.
Mm-hmm.
And it was super blonde too.
it was so good. Like it wasn't like horrible bad, but it was just like if you look back on it now, it was so good. Like compared to everything that's coming out now, yeah,
Yeah.
it was great.
Oh, I know for me, like Resident Evil 2 on the N64 was what I experienced. And that got me in Resident Evil and I was hooked ever since. That shit scared me. I played it by myself. Um, beat it multiple times, like, because I was just trying to figure stuff out back then, a lot of cool stuff. Figure out, like, I was shocked, surprised, and scared of Mr. X initially. Like, I was like, what the hell's going on? Like, because he didn't show up on the first playthrough. You had to, like, play it again, to a different scenario for him to even show up. So when I played it again, I was like, what the fuck? You weren't here on the first playthrough. What the?
Yeah.
I just had no idea how to deal with him. And then, like, he just kept eating bullets. I'm like, dude, what? I can't kill you. Oh, that freaked me out. Until obviously later on, eventually, like, learned how to get around him. Fortunately, never played the OG RE1 or RE3. I don't know what happened, why I skipped RE3. I guess didn't have access, I guess. I just, like, wasn't working with that. Like, I was limited to what my mom and other people would get me as a game, video games, whatever. So I just didn't really have access to them. Unlike now, obviously. And I do want to play through RE1 Remake, and I gotta play through RE3 OG because by many fans, not just you guys, that is the better version because the remake is just dog shit. So in comparison,
Of 3? Yeah, no, absolutely.
but that did lead me into like other horror games eventually. I'm mostly stuck with Resident Evil franchise. Silent Hill I eventually got to at one point, just didn't really get like super into them or didn't really have access to them right away. I remember playing Silent Hill 3 and I think I did beat it. It was definitely a much different game experience like than Resident Evil because Resident Evil was more of like that sort of like action survival horror in a sense. And Silent Hill's not really like the gameplay or action gameplay is not really the focus of it, I feel like. It's more about the atmosphere, the mystery, the tone, storytelling, things like that.
Silent Hill back then.
What's up?
So I really didn't like Silent Hill back then.
And that's fair. That's fair to feel that way.
It was like I had, cause back then we had demo discs.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for y'all. Y'all, to the people that was born after the demo disc and everything, y'all missed out on a lot.
Well,
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember getting the fucking magazines and getting the fucking demo disc in it.
Yeah, same.
Exactly. Like y'all missed out on some goodness. Holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember playing like Silent Hill on a demo disc, and I was just like, it wasn't like I wasn't scared of it and everything. It was just
Mhm.
like it was something different. Cause I like
Right.
I don't have any guns to be able to take out said person. Correct.
Right.
I gotta grab something and beat this thing up, and it's just like, why is this little thing crawling after me? Like I don't like this. Like what
Mhm.
the hell is going on?
I don't like this.
And then Pyramid Head, like you couldn't really ever kill him. Like he was kind of like he was, I guess, essentially the Mr. X or whatever, or Nemesis. Well, no, sadly you can kill Nemesis. I guess he was more the Mr. X of Silent Hill.
Well, let's be honest. You don't necessarily kill Nemesis. He just gets evaporated in a fucking nuke.
Okay,
Ooh. He's
true.
That's true.
Okay, look. For the original, let's not talk about the remake.
Okay.
For the original, at the very end, you fight a giant fucking massive blob. That is Nemesis. Like,
Mhm.
very end. He's a fucking blob. You can either A, leave this massive blob alive, or B, shoot it 6 times, well, in a cutscene, shoot it 6 times with a magnum and then leave it. Mind you, it's still fucking surviving at this point.
Mhm.
What happens at the end? Obliteration by a nuke, basically.
Fair enough.
So, obviously, Nemesis lived the entire thing until a nuke went, no,
Funny,
and just
still alive.
fucking obliterated it.
He's still alive.
It's interesting how like often in Resident Evil games, like a big explosion is usually the for sure way it seems like to kill something. What
The American way to be able to.
I say, so that is America.
The American
It's
way.
not just in a game thing, it is the American way. Got a secret lab that needs to be taken out?
Mhm.
Blow it up. Got a town that's infested with monsters that need taken out? Blow it up. Got an island that needs to be taken out? Blow it up. Got a fucking Antarctic base that needs taken out? Blow it up. Fucking no matter what it is, blow it up.
Yeah,
It's
fair.
like, hey, you remember this town that used to be right here? What town? That was never a town here.
What
There was
town?
no such thing as a town.
What is this Raccoon City you talking about? I've never heard of that. Hell is a Raccoon City?
So then I want to ask this, like, what with Resident Evil, did it expand your guys' horizons a bit, like explore their horror games over the years, like in different ways, or?
I
'Cause
mean,
know-
I've explored out, but not too much, just because a lot of the horror games weren't, I guess you could say, necessarily horror in a way.
Okay.
Like, not in the sense of what I got with Resident Evil.
Okay.
But I still try to find similar games that are like that or like inspired by it to see how they play out. And sometimes they play out fucking extremely well. Other times it's just kind of like
Yeah.
it's there, but not that feeling
Yeah.
like it should be.
Which is fair. And then, like, nowadays we got so many clones of like games. Like we got Resident Evil clones, like Tormented Souls is one. There was one not too long ago. I forgot the name of it. Yeah, you're looking at one. There was one that both of y'all were into, trying to get me into.
Them and Us.
Them and Us. Yeah, there's that. It's on my radar to check out at some point. Daymare, I think, is another one.
It's another game that's supposed to be coming out too. I told Alex. Alex like, yeah, that's hentai Resident Evil.
Oh my goodness, hentai Resident Evil.
You can dress the character in like different clothing and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Bach playing it, and it was just like, this is interesting.
What was the one that was I don't know if what the proper wording for the graphic style or art style direction is, but like it kind of reminded me a little bit of like FF7 graphics, but it was obviously like a Resident Evil type of tone or whatever.
You and I don't even know.
I forget the name of it. It came out like earlier this year, and I know you guys both of you were kind of adamant about it, like wanted to try it out, but it didn't.
Like Resident Evil, right?
Yeah, like it's very Resident Evil like, but like the art direction, like the character models, whatnot, is very similar, and what I feel like is like similar to maybe like OGF of 7 type of character models in a way. I could be wrong, but
I don't know. I probably saved it on my wish list, my Steam wish list, so it's somewhere.
okay. I know for me though, expanded my set of like horror games a bit more, but there's a lot of like spooky games that aren't survival horror too much. Like they're more action horror. Like recently I played through Evil West, which is technically supposed to be like, I guess it's classified as action adventure. It's not even really like, it's horror-ish, but not really spooky.
It does its own thing.
Yeah, and I did go through the OG Silent Hill 2 in preparation for Silent Hill 2 remake. And I really enjoyed it. Surprisingly, like I really enjoyed it. The combat was not really good, but at the same time, it's a different take. Like your Resident Evil is like you got these characters that essentially have like military training. They got combat training in some way, so it's like that feels more of like survival horror, like action survival horror. And if over the years has gone more that action movie style with Resident Evil 5 and 6. Um, Silent Hill is just different because you're not playing a character who has military training. You're like playing a regular dude, at least in 2 anyway, who just like is looking for his wife that's supposed to be dead. And like he's just trying to find what he can, I guess, an environment to use, finds a freaking like not a stick, but like a pipe or pipe or whatever to use as melee. Eventually finds a gun, doesn't shoot. Go ahead.
Yeah, he still don't know how to use it. It's just like, I got a gun.
Yeah.
All right. But how do I use it?
And I think it's done on purpose with how janky it is with the gun mechanics. It's like that. Because he's not, like I said, he's not like some trained military person or cop or whatever. He's not. So it makes sense in that way, and I think that's part of its charm. With Silent Hill 2 Remake, I don't know, I think they're trying to expand upon the combat and make it like more modernized and whatnot. They're definitely going for like a Resident Evil 2 Remake type of camera view angle, it feels like. Combat-wise, I don't know. I think it's supposed to be a little bit more action, but I do want to try it out and see how it is. I'm open to I eventually got like into other horror games too, especially like I don't know if you both have played Outlast 1 and 2. But
I've played 1, I haven't played 2.
What about you, Brent?
No, I know about Outlast, but I'm not gonna play that. No.
Why? Why?
Reason,
bitch.
no, it's not even that. I don't care. Me, if something is chasing me, I want to beat the ever loving shit out of it. All right.
Fair.
I'm not here and run. Something
Fair.
has to die, either me or the thing that's chasing me. I'm not here to keep running. Like I'm going to fight.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I was initially hesitant about playing it in the first place because you can't fight back. All you can do is run and hide. But dude, the experience, like, it's kind of like a Silent Hill in that regard, where like the overall, like the game is not about combat. It's about the atmosphere, storytelling, and experience of it. Like, that's the point. Like, it's kind of like Silent Hill 2 in that manner, where Silent Hill 2's combat isn't really good because it's not, that's not the point, or that's not the main focus of it. It's more about the atmosphere, story, and tones like that. Dude, that game is scary. Outlast 1, I prefer over Outlast 2, and the DLC Whistleblower is really good too.
I gotta fight. I'm fighting any and
No,
everything.
I understand that. I understand that. You don't want like a Dead by Daylight situation where you can't really fight back. I get that.
Something has to die.
And nothing wrong with that. I didn't think, like I said, I didn't think I was gonna like it, but I did. I do. And
a lot of people like
that. What drew me in and kept me going was the story of it. Like I was curious, like, okay, why does this happen? Why does this happen? I was like curious how those stuff played out. So the not fighting back didn't really bother me. What about you, Alex? Was that kind of your same mindset with it when you played 1?
But Outlast, I mean, sure, like I wanted to beat the fuck out of someone, but at the same time, like, you're a fucking reporter.
Yeah.
Like, you're not gonna go in there and be like, oh, that dude's chasing me, I'm gonna beat the fuck out of him because he's big and brolic and I want to beat his ass. No, you are a skinny fucking reporter that don't know what the fuck's going on. All you were given was this information about this place. So you go, all right, cool. I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna do some research, da 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 da. Yeah. And then when you go in, you get trapped, and now you're like, oh God, I need to get out of here. But at the same time, I'm trying to like figure out what's truly going on.
Yep.
You're not gonna fight in that because 1, you are a fucking, I'm going to assume, and God forbid I'm assuming this, you're a skinny ass, weak as fuck white dude running around trying to keep his own life alive, like trying to save his own life and recording everything. Yeah, you're gonna have this big, brolic, fucking bald-headed white dude that became a fucking mess chasing your ass the entire time that can literally destroy you in a single fucking crush of your skull with his goddamn hands. You're not gonna fight him. You're gonna run the fuck away from him. There's nothing in the goddamn place to fight with. If you want to fight with something, guess what? you're fucked.
SOL,
Because you're
buddy.
not
Yeah.
gonna be grabbing a pipe out of fucking nowhere. Unless
Yeah.
you want to grab a goddamn rock and try to beat his head in, but that ain't gonna fucking work. There's
Right.
only like fucking couches, barely any chairs, and they're fucking destroyed. If you try to stab him with a piece of wood, guess what? You're still fucked.
And that's how the game's set up. You're set up not to be this combatant. You're set up to be this like journalist reporter, like you said. You got a camera.
You
And
are
that's
literally
really-
set up to be fucked over the
Yeah.
entire time.
You literally got a camera that you're trying to keep collecting batteries to keep the camera light on and use essentially night vision to help see stuff
Yep.
and get
Damn,
through. So it's
fucking
like,
suck, bro. Like you need a battery every 30 minutes. Like damn, dude.
yeah, that's the way it's
It
part of
depends on
the.
how often you use it because
Hmm.
you don't have to use it consistently.
You don't.
Only in dark places, but even without the battery being there, you could still see just enough to push forward without the battery with night.
I don't know.
night vision.
It depends on the area because there are some really dark
Oh, there's
spots in
some
that
dark
game.
spots, but it's still viable. Like there was times where when I played it, I had no batteries. I just went, fuck it. And I just slowly inched
Mhm.
forward the entire
Yeah.
time.
Nice. But yeah, like cool stuff like that. I like those experiences like that. So I'm down for something like that. I know we got Outlast Trials as a multiplayer experience, so I'm hoping we get to Outlast 3 at some point. I know Alex, you haven't played Outlast 2 yet. And
I know
Brandon,
Outlast 2 doesn't pertain to the first one. That much I do know, though.
Yeah, I personally felt like Outlast 2's story wasn't as good as 1, but I'm gonna let you, whenever you play it, decide for yourself. And like with this month though, well, October, you mean Halloween, spooky and whatnot, you know, we don't got too much horror games coming out. I know Silent Hill 2 Remake's like the biggest one. I think we maybe got some indies, but it's kind of sparse, so which is like kind of odd.
Say
Yep.
pretty much look forward toward the indies because when it comes toward like horror games or whatever, you're gonna see a flood.
Yeah,
I mean a flood of horror games comes out.
true. Like, and I want to like try out some other ones that let me bring up my Steam wish list because you guys have recommended stuff to me. Them or Us.
You son of a-
There was I got Visage. I want to try that out. I don't know if you've heard about that or well, I know Alex I think he does, but I don't know about you, Brent.
This is-
Tormented Souls I want to try that out. Tormented Souls 2 I think is about to come out soon.
I would suggest looking into Fear the Spotlight as well.
Oh yeah, from Blumhouse. That's right, Blumhouse, the movie company is getting into video games. Yeah, Fear the Spotlight. Let me check that real quick.
I don't know, think
There's
about
only
it,
a
too.
demo for it right now.
Mhm.
If you want to go back, like like play some
Mhm.
like old horror games, I would say Fear.
Well, is Fear technically a horror? Or is that because that's like an FPS, right?
Yeah, Fear.
I want to say it's an FPS horror game.
Yeah.
Okay.
I might play the third one a little bit, and I'm just like, this is actually kind of unique.
So I guess then, how did horror games shape you as a person or your gaming experience over the years?
Asking me or Alex?
Either one, whichever one wants to go first.
You can go ahead.
All right, I would say horror games for me it's hit or miss.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of the times, horror games they have what something that you're looking for.
Yeah.
Like for instance, as you know, Resident Evil 5 is sort of horror, but it's mostly just action.
Action.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after a certain point, they try to bring
Unless you
that back
break
in.
it, then it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it's a movie. It's a
Yeah.
movie once you break it. But
Yeah.
like Resident Evil 6 tried to bring that back. Tried to.
Wait,
And
what? Try to bring what back? The action or horror?
the horror. They tried to bring
I'm about
back
to say
the
because
horror.
Resident Evil 6 felt like a Michael Bay movie.
Yeah, that's
So Resident Evil 6 brought back the horror in the forms of Leon's campaign and Sherry's campaign.
Okay.
Chris's campaign was the action-y part of the game. Leon and Sherry's campaign, more so parts of Sherry's campaign, had the horror aspects added to it.
Right.
The other parts of Shared Campaign had the action parts to it, which, if you know what I mean, when it comes to like how Leon's campaign dealt with more so typical actual like zombies aspect. That was a part of Sherry's campaign in a few instances. With that being the case, that's where that part kind of came into play. Like, okay, sure, Sherry's campaign, like some of that has the horror, like, oh God, one of my aspects, especially when you had the invincible monster chasing after you consistently.
Yeah.
You had that. But then in Chris's campaign, you just had the aspect from Chris because, you know, God
The
forbid.
whole thing was, I'm Chris. That's all it was.
I'm Chris, and here's my partner, Piers. Oh no, Piers.
Yeah.
Trauma.
I don't know. I guess for me, because like I grew up on like watching horror movies as a kid, because my oldest brother, he would make me watch like Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Child's Play, and all stuff like that. So like, and then having video games be a horror genre for video games and be part of that medium, like that, just made me love horror even more and not be as scared. And even though I was stuck with Resident Evil as my main horror franchise, just because I think that's just how it was. But now so we got a lot of more options like that compared to back in the day. Just made me appreciate that stuff more, you know, and just having fun with it and experiencing the story, the environments, things like that, just the sounds. Like, and I enjoy looking for new horror experiences.
I would say this for Resident Evil,
Mhm.
the zombie sounds always stuck to me. Like
Yeah.
the moaning, groaning. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, I can't say it taught me, but I would say it's something I'll just do out of, you know, hey, I saw this in Resident Evil. Like I'll just be walking, I start scraping my right leg and just.
Well, I've done that so much too.
I do it a lot. Even as an adult, I do that shit a lot.
God, I remember doing it as a kid. Like when I saw that, I didn't really see it in the first one because it doesn't really happen in the first one. The second one, when they're walking, they're dragging their fucking leg behind them.
Yeah.
I'd be walking to my parents in the store. Next thing you know, I'm just dragging my leg as I'm walking forward the entire time.
A lot.
Oh my goodness.
It's not like I would say, all right, cool, you know. I'm like I do it out of boredom, like boredomness. I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna.
So did y'all ever like pull pranks on friends back then because of like?
Oh, I did all the time.
I definitely believe you did, Alex. I don't know about Brent because I don't know if he's.
I used to just do this shit just to do it, bro. Like it was always fun. Like you do like the zombie like. Let's say, okay, let's say the lights go out on us, right? Cool.
Mm-hmm.
The lights went out. Let's stand in here.
I would do that shit all the time.
I know me and my brother, where you pull pranks on each other a lot, try to scare each other. Different things like that. Like, oh man, he would get me good sometimes with the pranks. Well, it's just like how I guess brothers were, siblings, you know, growing up, or some siblings are. I guess on the sort of opposite end, now Capcom came out with like their Dead Rising series, which wasn't really horror, like, or at least scary horror, is more like comedic horror, I guess. You just do so much wacky stuff. I tried Dead Rising 1 not too long ago. It didn't really grab me. Brent, I know you recommended, you felt they were great games. Alex, I think you've played them as well, or at least some of them.
I know I played the third one.
I played all of them. The fourth one wasn't really all that much because they let you play as Frank again, but it just like
it didn't feel as good. So like,
I played the third one, and I 100% of that game until the DLC came out.
Oh yeah, the DLC messed that up for you.
Well, they fucked me with that.
So I guess like I don't think they're bad games. It's just for me, I don't know. Like I've beaten Dead Rising 2 back in the day on a PS3. For some reason, I was able to get through that. But for some reason, Dead Rising 1 did not grab me to want to keep going. I guess Brent, for you, what like grabbed you about the game that wanted you to keep playing them at least up
But
until 4?
Dead Rising 1?
Yeah.
Dead Rising 1 grabbed me. It was the story was one thing. I did like the story. Like
Hmm.
some random reporter coming out of nowhere saying, "Hey, I'm gonna take pictures of people dying and getting eaten by zombies." Cool.
Yeah.
So that happened. Then when you have to play the game over and over and over, try to save everybody,
Hmm.
and then you get like extra stuff you got to do, and then next thing you know, something happened to Frank, and it's just like, all right. It was mostly, as everybody knows, the government had something to do with it.
No
Yeah.
shit, Sherlock.
Yeah.
The government always has something to do with everything. Try to put their hand on something. Oh, we can make immortality
Hmm.
zombies. So
I mean,
like
you're
it's
as immortal as you can be with a zombie.
I mean yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Um. Okay. So like the gameplay loop was like kind of how it was in the story, and that's what kept you going. Okay.
Yeah, it kept like the story stuff was always what kept me going. Cause I actually like doing stuff like seeing like who like the people I didn't rescue. Let's go
Hmm.
see if I can go and rescue them. Like the psychopaths and all that stuff too was
Hmm.
interesting as well. Like
Yeah, I admit, like my time with trying on Dead Rising 1, like I enjoyed the boss fight of the psychopaths, but the whole trying to rescue like optional civilians or whatever kind of was really weighing on me and just annoying as shit. Like it was worse than fucking Resident Evil 4 to me in terms of how the escorting worked in that game. Because even the OG RE4, it was like more tolerable for me to deal with. It was still annoying, but wasn't as bad as Dead Rising 1 at least. And I don't remember how it was in Dead Rising 2 because that was so freaking long ago.
I
And Dead
do,
Rising,
I
so
do, I do.
like Dead Rising 1, there was one in particular. This lady was in a jewelry store or whatever. She was talking about her missing daughter, whatnot. I was trying to get her out. Now, mind you, yeah, she was shown to be like injured, so she's walking slow, which I get. But at the same time, it was just like the way she moved was so slow or annoyingly slow. And then I don't know, just and then the amount of like hordes of zombies, and it's like, bro, can you move faster, please? Like, what the hell? And then I'm running on like health items, this and that. I'm just like, this has
They
become
fixed that.
more trouble than it's worth. Like, I'm just gonna let you die or something, because it's just
I heard they fixed that
uh
in the remaster. Well, yeah, the remaster, whatever they want to call it. I heard they fixed the AI in that because the AI in the
yeah.
original was garbage.
Yeah, and I think that's my biggest issue with Dead Rising 1 at least. I don't remember how bad or good the AI was in Dead Rising 2, but yeah, since I played Dead Rising 1 recently on PC, yeah, the AI, companions, whatever, escorts, and I was like, no, I can't do it. It's so it's just bad. I mean, I know it came out mid 2000s. I get it. I understand because we also got Resident Evil 4 around that time too. We all know how bad Ashley was in that or whatever. So, and she's a little bit better in the remake, a little bit. Not as annoying.
She's
Which,
actually helpful for once.
yeah, I know, right? In the remake, but
We're not gonna talk about Ashley. Ashley back in the Resident Evil.
so I don't know. And then like I think I did own and play Dead Rising 3 at one point. I think I have for Xbox, but I don't know. It didn't grab me either. It didn't keep me going. I eventually traded in. Um.
I beat them all. It's just some of the stuff was just like, bro, why is this even happening?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you think about it, the government would do some shit that's in Dead Rising. They would actually localize one thing that's going on. I would say, let's do an experiment. Let's do an experiment in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Next thing you know, zombies.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, what happened? Zombies? Like, it's y'all fault, bro. We know this. Like,
Oh, dude, I am very adamant about believing that could be a possible apocalypse thing happening. I know Alex disagrees because I think Alex, you feel we would catch in time before it could ever
Oh,
really
I
get
would
that.
cash in hard on that shit.
Well, not. You feel like as a society we will catch that in time and keep it from being like a Resident Evil situation.
Well, the issue with it is in order to make it absolutely viable, which it would only be viable for a certain time frame.
Mhm.
That would either be spring or fall. But again, there's only a few months that'll happen through that. But still, the only way to actually make something like that viable, people are gonna hate me for saying this. You
Okay.
take out all the major cities,
Uh-huh.
you take out every single military base and form of military out there,
Mhm.
and you take out the rednecks.
Whoa, whoa,
I am not wrong. So
whoa. I was not
I-
expecting that.
I'm not wrong because
I agree.
those
I agree with
motherfuckers, again, you guys are fantastic. Y'all motherfuckers have like 20,000 guns with like 5 million pounds of fucking ammo sitting in your fucking house right now, just waiting for a motherfucker to try. What the fuck's gonna happen the moment you hear the dead has now risen and we need to eradicate them? Them motherfuckers will be like, it's my time to shine. Cock their fucking shotguns and everything and straight out start murdering everyone
I
in
would
front
say
of
this.
them.
I would say
Okay.
this, Alex. I would say this, Alex. That'd be like, remember the episode on Powerful Girl when Fuzzy Lunker was just sitting on his porch, right? And anything came on his property, he shot it. It was a butterfly that landed on his I think it landed on his grass. They were like, get off my
Mhm.
he just
Oh yeah,
shot
no,
it.
that's exactly what it would be. It would be that, but on a much
Yeah.
larger scale.
Yeah.
Again, they have guns and ammo for fucking days usually,
Yeah.
and then all you have to do is you take them out, you take major cities out, and you take out the fucking all military bases, every single military base, not just the ones in America, but all over the world,
Yeah.
and anything that is military related. So like any ships that's out to sea, submarines if you can get onto them, all of them. If you could take all of them out in one single swoop, just all of them,
Yeah.
then maybe you might have a chance. But the moment summer hits and the moment fucking winter hits, it's done. Why? Winter hits, they're gonna fucking freeze to begin with and not be able to move. Sure, they might enter a hibernation state, but then again, now we hit spring. Oh no, they're moving again. Da, 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 da. Now we hit summer. Guess what? All that rotting flesh falls off and now they can't move anymore.
I mean,
So
it's hard
either
to
they
walk
die
through
in
snow, too.
winter or they die in summer.
It's hard to walk the snow.
I mean, yeah.
And
And I
even
mean,
then, now all you have to do is live up on a tall ass fucking hill, live on a fucking mountain. Guess what? Now they have to trudge uphill to try to get to you, which makes it harder for them
yeah.
Without falling.
without falling. Exactly.
Yeah.
Now you also live on a fucking island. Like find a deserted island somewhere where you know there's no fucking population.
hmm
Live there. Like go out only when needed, but get enough supplies to like last a year.
Yeah.
After that year, go back to fucking main civilization. I bet you 90% of the fucking shit will be done with. 90% of the entire zombie like population at that time will most likely be done with because one, they either died in the winter, like I said, or two, they died in the fucking summer.
Yeah. And I do see your points there. I do. And then like I don't know if a zombie apocalypse were to ever happen, it's like it would depend on the type of zombies too, if they're regular or like World War Z type zombies or some other
No, let
craziness.
it be the Night of the Living Dead zombies. Cause I'm not dealing with no zombie that's running, bro. Like, like you might as well just going to take me out, cause like zombie that's running, hell no.
What
But
do
that's also another thing that we're
yeah.
also coming back to that aspect. Cool, they're running, but now we go into World War Z.
Yeah.
Guess what? The people with a terminally ill disease, diabetes, are viewed as infected. So guess what? They're immune. So guess what happens? We're pretty much having fucking free meal to go out there and murder shit.
I forgot about
Because
that part.
we're viewed as infected to the zombies. There's nothing that they can do to us because we have I guess you could say like a impure body or something like that. Like I forget the exact terminology that they used in the movie.
What
Right.
about
But
sickle-
it was
what about
pretty much
sickle
because
cell?
we were viewed as infected because we had a lifelong disease. Like we had a disease that fucks with us so much that they can't. okay, cool. I turn into a zombie. I still
Right.
need to take insulin. That's gonna kill me before anything. So that, in a sense, that view marks me as infected. Since that
Mhm.
marks me as infected, I'm free to walk through the masses of zombies and not have anything done to me.
I forgot about that part of that, but yeah, basically the zombies, like if we're going off World War Z logic movie and book, where it was based on a book too originally, I think.
Yep.
They view humans like you with a terminal illness, like diabetes, as being tainted, I guess, and you're just like,
Yeah.
nope, we're not
We're
gonna
already infected.
fuck. So okay, yeah, that's a good point. I mean,
But
and
that's
these are
the
just
thing. Like, when it hits that point, you have to decide: one, what type of zombies are we facing? Two,
Exactly.
what are the terminology when it comes to being infected?
Yep.
And like, it just progresses from there.
Yeah, no wrong. Back to like horror games on topic in general, like what we're looking forward to. I know we got a really kind of out of nowhere, I think it's getting a lot of praise, horror game coming out in November. Me and Alex are excited for. Brent, I forgot if you know about this or not, but Slitterhead. It's action adventure, like it's being made, I think, by the OG Silent Hill creator or one of the Silent Hill creators.
Isn't what's her name working on that too?
What's her name?
The lady that got popular at was it? I don't know. It wasn't. It probably was one of the game shows or whatever.
Sir, I'm trying to think who the heck you talking about.
I don't forgot her name. It was, she like a Japanese
If you're talking about the Japanese lady who used to, I think, work at Tingo Gameworks
I think so.
and then left and decided to do her own thing.
I think I don't know if she's working on that or not, but
I mean, she's working on a game, but I don't believe it's Slitterhead. It's something different.
oh, looking at my wish list.
The creator of Silent Hill, by the way.
Thank you.
No Maroon in Hell 2 it's like it's supposed to be coming out in October. It says.
Oh, the early access. Yeah, no more room in hell too. I'm excited about that. I want to try it out. When you got no room in hell 1, we still got to try. Yeah, like there's some horror games we want to play on the on my channel here, guys, for you, like on both Twitch and YouTube. Multiplayer ones like Outlast Trials. I want to get back into. No More Room in Hell 1 I want to try out. And then yeah, early access version No More Room in Hell 2 is coming out soon. Like there's some good horror stuff coming up soon, both solo and co-op.
One thing, I know Alex heard about it. Remember Crow Country, right, Alex?
Yep.
Crow Country, I think that was the game.
I want to play that too.
Crow Country was the one I was referring to earlier. I just can't remember the name. Where it's like Resident Evil kind of like, but like the art style reminds me a bit of like FF7 character models.
Another game that I had put on my wish list called Gunmetal Gothic. It's kind of like it's a multiplayer. I would say like multiplayer Resident Evil.
Really?
Yeah, like let me send you a link real quick.
Yeah, please do.
Gunmetal Gothic.
Yeah. I do want to play this. This actually
okay. Yeah, I see what it's kind of like.
Gunmetal Gothic.
Yeah, if you can probably look it up or whatever, but it
definitely has like those older style graphics too.
It has like a Bloodborne feel to it too, since it's like
Oh well, it's tags are third person shooter action RPG PvE RPG. Wait, but it's supposed to be horror? Huh?
I think it is.
Weird looking.
I thought you can create your own character too.
Probably.
But this actually looked pretty good for us to just like
Yeah, you are an anchorite, the last line of defense for the survivors of Vestige, a city overrun by invaders from another dimension. Take the fight to these vile mechanical creatures alone or with friends as you explore a dark stylized world and shoot, cast, and maneuver your way to victory. Customize your character with a variety of weapons, spells, and gear, and upgrade them to take on even greater challenges.
It sounds like just a dark fantasy co-op RPG.
Oh, and the game I was talking about, what I was saying, like you can dress the character, is called The Killing Antidote. That's what it is.
Ah, okay. But I'm excited in general though, like the horror games we got coming up. Silent Hill 2 remake, we got Slitterhead, we got No Room in Hell 2 early access. Some other cool stuff. We got some other indie titles coming up. Already out.
No.
I know like there's a song of Conquest or whatever the heck I think I gotta try out. Recommended to me. You also recommend Them and Us. Uh, Project Nightmares Case 36. Henrietta Kedward is another one that's been on my radar. I want to try out at some point. It looks very scary. So horror games here to stay. I want them to keep being better. I don't want this to be just like clones. I want them to do new stuff too. And it was fun to talk about like, you know, the horror games that pretty much shaped us and start with it, which ended up being Resident Evil. I'm not too surprised. Considering that's like the one that started off was Resident Evil, honestly. And then from like horror games just came from there. Fear the Spotlight is coming out coming soon. Upcoming one from Blumhouse. I'm glad Blumhouse is getting the horror games, working with game developers on that stuff.
I would say this too.
Oh no, Song of
like,
Horror, not Song of Conquest. Song of Horror is the horror game I'm talking about. But go ahead, Brent.
I would say this too. Like getting up into like the horror aspect or whatever.
Mhm.
When Dead Space first came out too, it actually changed up the game of horror as well.
It did.
It didn't give you that menu like, hey, everything stops.
Mhm.
Like your health is right on your back.
Yeah.
Like it shows your health and everything, like how badly hurt you are.
Yeah.
And like when you're trying to pull out a weapon or pull your menu up, everything is still going.
Thank you, because my brain was not thinking to bring it up earlier than I want to, and I'm like, Dead Space is another great horror franchise overall that I really got into, more so than I would say Silent Hill, and like ended up being just Resident Evil in space in many ways, but but it still does its own thing. Really enjoyed back in the day I played Dead Space 2 and loved it, and then I didn't play the original Dead Space until like a year or two ago on PC, leading up to the remake of Dead Space, because I want to play that, and I really enjoyed that. And Dead Space remake is just awesome. Like they kind of did a Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 4 remake type of thing. Where
I'd say
like
they did more of a Resident Evil 1 style remake where they took the original game and expanded upon what was already there.
That's what I mean, essentially in a nutshell. It's like Capcom, like the way Capcom and Square Enix do the remakes, with like they usually expand upon it. They keep it the core story, but still expand upon it, not just do quality life stuff and modernize it from a gameplay standpoint, but add a little bit more lore and background. I love that when they do stuff like that. It's not just a one-to-one.
Yeah, we don't talk about the one that they did that's a complete fucking piece of shit garbage remake, but
technically they outsourced that one though.
But Resident Evil 2 though, however, they did kind of remake the entire game. Like you still had some of the similar aspects from the original, but there was also a lot of new items put in to the remake from the original.
Something I really appreciated about Resident Evil 2 remake over the original night, this is part of why I like the remake over the OG of 2, is that well, this is just one factor, but Marvin is such a better character in the remake. He's more fleshed out. He's more of like an important, like he's just more of an important character than he was in the OG. I feel like overall, and that's just one thing.
Yeah. Instead of him telling you, here's a key and go. And
instead of telling you get the fuck out,
right?
Yeah. I don't know. I like the way they did Marvin a bit more in remake, and then how Mr. X is on your first playthrough instead of having to like play through it again through a different scenario to have him show up, and other things like that. So I don't know. I just really appreciated those things about the remake. I still love.
I'm not saying that the remake was terrible because I love the remake. The remake was fan-fucking-tastic.
Right.
However, the issue that I have is fucking Mr. X.
Oh, in the remake? Okay.
Yes.
I know why. I know why you say that, because you told me this before. Like you can, once you get a feel of what Mr. X is, you get his patterns down. So like if he's on one side.
Oh yeah, you can manipulate the fuck out of him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, but it's not that. It's not that part. I don't mind the fact that you can manipulate the fuck out of them. That I'm perfectly fine with. I will manipulate the fuck out of a creature in a game if it means that they do what I want them to do.
Yeah.
My issue is the fact that they don't talk about the fact that there are 2 Mr. X's in the game, but they say that there's only one. There's 2.
That's true.
You have the one following Leon all the way up to the end of the fucking game, and you have the one following Claire that dies midway through the game.
Didn't they show him like I thought they didn't they show it? Like, it was a Mixed X like dead somewhere. I don't know if it was in the
I don't
If
know.
you
I
mean
don't.
in the remake, if they
no,
did, it would have
not
been
in the
like in
remake.
the lab. But no, the
Nah,
only
it wasn't
game
in the
that I
remake.
know that they show off dead Mr. X's is in the original of Resident Evil 3. And that is
Oh,
once
okay.
again very end of the game.
Oh, okay. Hmm.
And the only way
Interesting.
you get knowledge of that is if you play Operation Raccoon City.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yep,
Yeah.
Operation Raccoon City was a fantastic, I wish they fucking fix it, fantastic multiplayer co-op game
Hmm.
that it was more of a what if kind of scenario
Yeah.
that they did for the series, but still, it was a fantastic game because it gave you a, well, what if this happened instead?
Yeah.
I mean,
I
it still
enjoyed it.
played through the actual like mention of the game, like the actual game itself. It still played through that,
Yeah.
but it also gave you the what if scenario, especially
Hmm.
at the end of Operation Raccoon City. It
Yeah.
was a very definitive what if scenario at the end.
True. True. It was solid. Definitely. Um. I just hope Capcom keeps coming through. We know we got a new Resident Evil in the works that's been confirmed by the Resident Evil 7 game director. We don't know for sure if it's Resident Evil 9 or going to be called something else. But I mean, it only makes sense they would do Resident Evil 9 just because of what happened in the previous two games. Well, not. We still don't know what's going on with uh the daughter character. Fully like what's going to happen in the next game.
Oh, Rose.
Rose, yeah. Like, and how our powers are going to be and stuff like that. If how much long it's going to be much later. There's speculation that there's going to be Leon's going to be in it or be the main protagonist or Leon and
Well, we
Jill.
still have speculations of what's going on.
Yeah. Um. And there's people that think Ethan still might be alive in some way. I don't know.
Because we like we're still on the fence of whether or not like we're getting a Code Veronica remake and shit
Right.
like that.
Right. They haven't officially confirmed that, but that's the supposed thing they're working on. It's a Code Veronica remake and another remake. I think 5 was one that was mentioned. I don't know if they're gonna redo the first RE1 again, like remake it again.
If they remake 5, I hope they add in what they were initially gonna add into 5.
Which was?
The heat affecting you.
Oh yeah. My bad. Yeah, you're right.
Because in Resident Evil 5, originally I think it was only supposed to be Chris. It wasn't supposed to be a co-op partner.
Okay.
I don't mind the fact that there's a co-op partner. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care about that. That's fantastic. But my thing is, they had a fun mechanic of if you are in the sun for far too long, you start to see hallucinations because
Mhm.
heat stroke and shit like that. Like, you
Right.
start to see shit.
That would have been cool.
I would've
Honestly,
fucking loved that if that was in the fucking game, but no, it wasn't.
honestly, I could see that. Knowing Capcom, I could see that making it into the remake of 5 if they do that.
I hope so
And-
because that would have been a very fun mechanic
Yeah.
to have
Yeah.
to consider. Because if you're in the middle of battle, you can't just like disappear into shadow and like fucking cool down and whatnot and try to stop
Mhm.
siege. You're stuck seeing both real and fake enemies and trying to figure out which is which.
And if it's done right, I feel like this adds to the survival horror of it.
Exactly.
mean,
That's what I'm
yeah,
saying. Like, it
but
would have been
you-
fantastic if they added it in.
Yeah.
Instead of wasting bullets on something, it's just like, wait a minute. It's already.
What will be funny too is like if they do it, let's say they still keep it co-op, right? One player Sheva, one player Chris. Let's say the player who's Chris sees hallucination, right? But then the player who's Sheva doesn't see it, and you're just seeing your partner just randomly shoot at air. I'm like, what the hell's going on?
That
Like,
would
dude,
that's Dead Space 3 all fucking over again.
That Dead Space 3. I was just about to say
And
that.
I would
Oh.
love that. I would love it.
Oh, that's fair. I mean, Dead Space did get inspired from Resident Evil, though. So
I remember, like, I was playing as the other character. And I forgot who he was. I think he came into contact with the mark as well, right? So
Carter, I think it is.
I'm just like, all right, cool. So I
Mhm.
was telling my friend like, bro, do you not see this? So he looking and was just like, what are you talking about?
Carver, my bad, Carver.
So I
Yeah,
was like, what
Carver.
are you talking about it?
Hmm. Yeah, because even me and when me and Ollie played Dead Space 3, that happened. Like he was seeing shit I couldn't see on my screen. It was weird. We had a fun time with it though. So yeah.
So to update with Carver, like coming in contact, it's
Hmm.
because his family was moved to an EarthGov research facility on Uxor that
Yeah.
housed a red marker.
Okay.
He was tasked with guarding the facility, and then
Yeah.
shit happened. He lost his
Yep.
family. Blah 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 blah.
All right.
Government.
I guess we'll wrap things up here with just I know me and Alex are excited for Slitterhead coming
Uh,
out probably most of all. What's up?
I will say this though:
What's
the
up?
beginning of Resident Evil, as I stated earlier, at literally the beginning of this,
Hmm.
was because of a game called Sweet Home that was being developed at the same time as the movie.
Wow. That's
So a video
wild.
game by the name of Sweet Home, which was being developed pretty much at the same time as the movie, was developed by Capcom for the Famicom.
Oh,
That was the inspiration for Resident Evil.
that's wild. Hold on.
Could have got us completely different stuff
Jeez.
now that I think about
Gotta
it.
love video game history. Gotta love some of the stuff you find out years later that's behind the scenes stuff they don't always talk about initially, and then you find out like this is what happened, really went down. Oh man, I can only imagine how many like projects back then, not just from Capcom, but just video games in general that just never saw the light of day. What probably were really gonna be
Oh, there's a
cool or something.
lot of games that have not seen the light of
Mhm,
day that we
mhm.
probably wish that they would.
Exactly, and we will either never know or only know about some of them because some documentation has been made public and whatnot.
Yeah, so
Uh,
I just sent it to you, Mike, and I can send it to
okay,
you, Ben, as well.
cool,
But
cool.
in like the very first sets of the paragraph, the very
Hmm.
third paragraph says within like the first sentence, in retrospect, Sweet Home is considered a landmark game and is often cited for laying the groundwork for the survival horror genre. It served as the main inspiration behind Resident Evil in
Hmm.
1996, which was a massive critical and commercial success, launching a multimedia franchise. Later games in the future continued to pull inspiration from the game through the use of QuickTime events, inventory management, and ghost story elements. Sweet Home's Metroidvania style exploration,
Hmm.
storytelling methods, and horror elements have been cited as precursors to key elements found in other successful games decades later.
Wow, that's dope.
Yep. So Sweet Home itself is what
Hmm.
started the entire genre that we love to this day.
That is awesome. It's crazy. Something that never came out, released or fully, whatever started.
Oh, it fully released.
Oh, it did. Okay, my bad.
Oh, it was fully released for the Famicom.
Dang, I
But
got luck trying to find that. Then I need to find footage on that. Unless,
like
yeah,
Japanese
check it
only
out.
game though.
What's up, Brent?
I think Sweet Home was like a Japanese only game.
Yes, because although the game was never officially released outside Japan, France translated Sweet Home to English and released a modified ROM image on the
Hmm.
internet in 2000. The translation took over a year to complete. Some hobbyists have loaded the translated ROM onto cartridges to sell through online gray markets.
Wow.
But people went through, they ripped the game,
Yeah.
went through, translated the entire game, and then pretty much sent it back out.
Send it
That
back to
yeah. I
everybody else to play.
mean, they want people to experience it. They want not just the Japanese market. I understand that.
It's like
Um.
a lot of people do that to like certain games. Like for instance, Trials of Mana. Trials of Mana was a Japanese only game until they came out with Trials of Mana. Like if you try to play on the Super Nintendo, it's called was it Sword of Mana 3, I think? Cause you have 6
Mhm.
players, but on the Super Nintendo you can actually have 3 players to play.
Oh, nice.
But they changed it up right now so you can only
Hmm.
just have 1 player.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of
Yeah.
games that should have been over here that we want over here that never came out over here because we we were so primitive back then. Well, I would say
The
I
market
would
was
say
just different, dude.
yeah, cause
Like the
like
video game market, video game industry was just a different beast back then.
yeah, like it was certain games that we want to play that we
Yeah.
never got over here.
And I'm happy that like over the past, I want to say decade, maybe longer, we're starting to get games that have been Japanese exclusive
Yeah, they
and
actually
come to America, you know?
yeah,
Yep.
like if they don't come out, somebody's just gonna be like, nah, I'm gonna take this game,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna retranslate it all to like every language I can
Mm-hmm.
and put the ROM out there for everybody to use it. Cause if you get
Yeah.
a ROM or something like that,
Yeah. People
legally,
want
yeah,
other people to experience those games.
yeah, so it would always say, which language you want to play in.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh yeah.
like, and also if you look at like what I was about to say. If
And let's be
you
honest, when it comes down to Resident Evil 2, there's so much lore behind that we could
Mm-hmm.
go into.
Yeah. We'll have to say that for another episode, which I'm down to do. I'm down to go like digging through like the lore of Resident Evil or like or
there's
each game.
so much.
Or each game. If we dig the lore of each, like go into deep detail
The
on each
main
game's
one
lore.
would be Resident Evil 2. That is the main one because
That's fair.
you
we
want
could have
the
had an
game or you want the
enemy
bad game?
that we could have had an enemy that
Mhm.
would have been so much better than the fucking liquor.
Oh wow, some teasing guys for future episodes. So stay tuned. I'm definitely down to do that. Do deep dives, do lore type episodes like that for sure. This is fun, guys. Fun. Brent, any other horror games you're looking forward to coming up?
I'm really too big on horror, but are there any good horror games I'm looking forward to?
The main one me and Alex are looking forward to is Slitterhead. And then the other one I'm looking forward to personally is Silent Hill 2 Remake, just because I really enjoyed the OG I recently played. But outside of that, this at least for this year, nothing comes to mind.
Yeah, like I'll look at you guys play play horror game, but like I said, No More Room in Hell 2, since it's co-op or whatever, I definitely
The
wanna do it.
co-op one, yeah, I can understand that one for sure. That's good. That should be a fun co-op one we can do.
Yeah, because like if I get bit by a zombie, I need for one of you guys to take me out.
For sure, man. All right. Well, this is fun. Thank you both. And we don't know what we'll do for next episode, but stay tuned for that. And I want to do a horror episode, this one for October, because it's Halloween month, spooky month, things like that. So, and let us know if you're playing like any horror games, what horror games you love, what you grew up on, things like that. What sparked your interest in horror? Was it Resident Evil like a lot of us as well? And are you looking forward to, or already have been playing the Silent Hill 2 Remake, which is already should be out anyway by the time this video goes up? Check out links in the description below on YouTube when you watch the YouTube. If you want to go above and beyond, support Patreon, YouTube memberships, etc. So yeah. But we'll see you next time.